Hello everyone, this is Venkatesh. So in this video, I am giving you my first review of the questions of environment of the prelims exam which was conducted today. So let's see the questions. If you see the number of environmental questions, it will vary around 9 to 11 questions. Of course, some you can consider as purely current affairs, some purely as part of environment. So like that, there would be some here and there mismatch, but somewhere you can say that somewhere around 9 to 12 questions are asked from environment. Now, you all know when compared with the static syllabus of geography, polity, economy, and all, environment tends to have more of a dimension of more. You cannot predict the sources, you cannot, there is no consistency, there is no cost benefit analysis in terms of advantages for us when as an aspirant when compared with other static. The same trend has continued. There are certain questions which you can easily answer, say like some questions which strategically from the point of view of ecosystems and all you can answer, and there are certain questions which are quite difficult, quite random in nature, where you have to assume that hopefully things might correct. So what is the strategy which we all know before you are attempting the environmental exam, environmental questions out of the exam? Very simple. There are certain questions which are expected you, which you are supposed to know. There are certain questions which you might know. Then there are certain questions which would be so random that you would never know. Same thing you have to apply, and out of similarly at least around 3-4 questions are there, they are not approachable, and around 3 to 4 questions are there which are approachable. Now you see this one, Madhav National Park. It was a quite an old Madhav National Park. It was declared as a tiger reserve in India in 2025. That statements and all. The Sakya Sagar, Ramsar site. These days, Ramsar sites are so many. It is very difficult as an aspirant to remember about everything. So quite random to a certain extent. Not in the recent era. That is there. Then, if you talk about some other aspects, right? You can see here once again. See, one of the thing I have told you, I used to tell to my students that identify all the state birds, state animals, state flowers, and try to learn about that. Maybe if you have learned about that, there is some information you could have done with respect to whether foxtail orchid is the state flower of Arunachal Pradesh and Assam or not. Accordingly, you can evaluate, right? Now you see, if the species is endemic to Northeast India, right? Then if the species is Arunachal Pradesh and Assam, there is a close correlation. There could be, there could not be, but such kind of observations I have told you. One of the static portion, states, all the national birds, national animals, national flowers, try to cover them. In the exam, you might not. Anyhow, we will discuss about the answers and all. In the another video, I will try to provide all those aspects and what to learn also, right? Then, if you see, there are some more questions. Now, you see this question, 31. Consider the following statement with reference to India's response to climate change. There is a statement where they are asking about India's long-term low emission developmental strategy. They are talking about climate resilient development. They are talking about a latest update report. All these things, and they are also asking logically whether statement 1, 2, 3 are what is the relationship between 1, 2, 3. So what is the question? You need to read the question statements, then understand the relationship between the statements and what are the options about the relationships, and then you have to write the answer. So it is multi-layered reasoning. So what is the approach you need to follow? Multi-layered reasoning. These are the random questions which made this paper very, very lengthy. So learnings for next year. For the students who did not appear, is this. People who have already appeared, unfortunately, that is how it is, right? So you have to logically think what is right and wrong, and you should have applied. That is how the things are, right? Then you see further, Holuk Gibbons. Now, one of the new species which is in news since so many days, right? Hollow gibbons, and once again, such kind of question, right? Then you see mangroves. I think these are the questions which you are expected to answer somewhat easily approachable, conceptual clarity. If you take something like ecosystem services as a concept, and if you have applied on it, maybe you'd have got it right, right? So that is how the things, you see. What are the examples of mangroves? By withstanding tidal surges and offering biomass resources, mangroves function both as natural bioshields and livelihood basis for rural communities. Such kind of things. Now, moving further, I think that such kind of questions are what which you should not be missing it. Now, Amur falcons, right? This might be this side, or this might be geography, environment, current affairs, whatever you can say. This is another current affairs aspect, species. Arrival of Amur falcons at Doyang Lake in Nagaland. Some of my students tend to say that this was a question which I have discussed in the class, and it was one of the last but one question among the highest in the KBC program. So if you have applied from there, I have discussed about Amur falcons, Doyang Lake and all. Now you see, it showcases how sustained local observation efforts can contribute to arrival and protection of migratory birds. It reflects the global cycles. It confirms that Amur falcons have adapted to permanent residency in India due to favorable habitat changes. Now you see, such kind of things are in news, and that is how you can see it. These tend to migrate all the way from Siberia, Mongolia to India, and then they also go back to even as long as South Africa, right? So Amur falcons, quite an interesting thing. We will discuss further about what are these questions, how can you answer those things. Then you see Nirantar, National Institute for Research and Application of Natural Resources to Transform, Adapt and Build Resilience. An institution, a current affairs one. Once again, some current affairs linkages are there, right? So overall, I would say that if you see the environmental questions, there is not such kind of a major change in the trend, except in the nature of the question, but in the nature of where they have changed, where they have, what do you say, the topic they have chosen, nature, was similar. Some are expected, which are easy to apply. Some are here and there. Some are very random, which is the nature of environment. See, you can target majority of the questions from sometimes in polity, economy and geography also conceptually, that you can target almost 90% of the questions sometimes. Environment is always around 60, sometimes 70. Same thing here also. So that 30% is the randomness which makes the cost benefit analysis a bit lesser when compared with the major static. It doesn't mean that we need to avoid and not learn environment, but there are certain aspects which you have to learn, and these are the dimensions. I hope you all have understood what are the aspects of environment, and within few days I would be giving you once again the analysis of each question and further strategies for next year of how to prepare geography, environment and all. Do watch this space. Thank you all of you. Take care. Hope you have a good time.